All right, so this is our mindfulness meditation workshop. I did one of these about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. I'm hoping to do one every 4 to 6 weeks-ish. I feel like this is what we need right now, right? Calming, soothing. So this month I was looking, I don't know if you guys could get AAA. I had my little Via magazine, right? So I'm sitting eating my lunch and I'm leafing through and they got all these cool, like, here's this campsite and all this travel. And they're like, call ahead, because they had a thing about Astoria. Oh, I love Astoria so much. So I'm looking at all my virtual travel photos. Then I get to this page, preparing for disaster. And I could feel myself like, ah. And I was like, no, this will be good. Go through it. And so I start reading. So I got all this good stuff about like your earthquake box, right? And having a pair of running shoes in your trunk, you know, where you get caught somewhere when you were going to work. They talk about CPR first aid. I just did CPR 6 weeks ago, maybe, with a guy over on Barber that I like a lot. This group I've been going to for years. One of the things was, you know, of course, you know, your go box, your millions of gallons of water or whatever it is per person. And they said, have a wrench and know where to turn off the gas line. And I was like, I don't know that. And so as I'm reading this thing, I feel myself starting to get wound up. And I'm like, if we have an earthquake, and then my stomach started hurting, and I was like, what is happening right now? So I recognized that I was feeling stress in my body. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. You don't need to freak out about this. You and Eric can have a conversation this weekend. You can make, you know, we've got can of bean here and some flashlights here, but it's not all in one place. I'm like, you guys could just make a little go box. You could find out where the shut off valve is. So the first thing was I realized my tummy was hurting. I was feeling stressed. My breathing changed. I named it. I was like, oh, I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling out of control. I feel like I'm not prepared. Like, I'm an adult. I should know all this stuff, right? And then I sat with these feelings. I was like, what are you noticing? My stomach hurts. My breathing has changed. So the second part, or I guess this is like my fourth part on my little 5 list, is making a plan. So they have this psychologist. I'm just going to read what she says in this paragraph. Prepare mentally. This is Tyler Miron Schatz. Preparation is as useful as stress is useless. Identify what needs to be done and do it. Living with this constant inner noise of, what if there's a flood? It's as if the flood is happening every day. So if you can prepare for the worst, then stop thinking about it. And I was like, yay! So anyway, that was the last little bit then is like letting it go, right? If you're constantly in this cycle of like fear, anxiety, which it's hard not to be right now. Okay, so that was sort of what got me thinking about this whole thing. And I was like, that's gonna be our theme for our meditation. So let's do a little gentle movement, just stuff you can do here seated. You could start by flexing and extending your spine. So this will get us ready to sit for a minute here. So whatever this means to you, you could get on the floor and do cat and cow. You could stay in your seat. I'm on a Swiss ball, so I've got a little rolling action I can do in my pelvis. And then do a little side to side bend. It's not like the big deal. You could tilt your head, you could tilt your whole body. Just notice if you can scrunch up one side and then scrunch up the other side, and just notice what you notice with these little gentle movements, and then some kind of twist. So that might be hands on your shoulders and twist. You could stand up and do like a big swinging twist. This could be really tiny. Maybe it's just your shoulders and neck. So just start to twist your spine a little bit. So sometimes it's hard to just plop down and sit. I feel like if we do a little bit of movement and kind of wiggle things out a little. Now let's make fists with your hands. We were doing this as part of our warm up in some of our classes last month. Squeeze and release, squeeze and release. Yeah. Now you can't see my feet, but could you do the same thing with your toes? Could you make a little toe fist or a foot fist? Squeeze and release, squeeze and release. Yeah. And then do a little shruggy of your shoulders and see what that feels like. Maybe take an inhale. Exhale, let them drop. We'll do that a couple more times. Shruggy. Let them drop. Shruggy. Let them drop. Now you might be able to see I'm bouncing a little bit on this ball. You could either shrug your shoulders If you're on a bouncing thing like me, you could bounce. You could stand and do this. This is like a qigong type chi thing. They do a lot of this bouncing just to get energy moving. Okay, so that's it. We're not going to do like an exercise class. I just wanted to do a little bit of movement. And then let us do this breath, sound, and body meditation. So we're going to spend about 5 to 8 minutes doing this one. And then I'll give us a little break. And so at any point, if any of this that we're doing feels too intense, or if you're like, I got stuff to do today, you can just buzz out of this meeting. I'm recording this. If you sat for 5 minutes of this with us, super, thumbs up, gold star for you. So if you're comfortable, wherever you are, closing your eyes, because you're not going to need to see me for this part. And I'm seated. There's lots of ways to sit. You could sit on a comfortable chair, armchair. You could sit with your legs crossed, like maybe on a yoga bolster or a block. You could lay on the floor. If you start to get uncomfortable, just reposition yourself. All right, so we're just going to tune in to our breath. And you might even say to yourself, breathing in and breathing out. And just noticing your breath. So I think I am going to mute everybody now. If you want to unmute yourself and holler at me after this is done, we'll have a little recap. Yeah. Take a couple more big, deep breaths. So this doesn't have to be anything. We're not trying to make this into any kind of forced breathing pattern. You're just noticing your breath coming and going. And sometimes just noticing your breath, it might change a little bit. Notice where your breath goes in your body. It comes in through your nose or your mouth, into your lungs. Can you feel your rib cage move with each breath? And if it doesn't feel like it's moving very much, could you encourage a little movement, this 3D expansion? So again, not forcing it, just following your breath. And sometimes when we try to focus on one thing, like our breath, other things might distract us. And those things could be sounds inside or outside of your room. So for just a moment, start to tune into any sounds that you hear. And they could be animal noises, could be people outside of your house, street traffic, and without having a whole story or a good or bad, right or wrong about those noises, just start to tune into them so you can let go of your breath momentarily and notice any sounds you hear. And you might just label them. You might say fan running, dog barking, just noting any sounds. And if you're lucky enough to have a really quiet space, you can notice the sound of silence. I'm in Selwood, I can hear the train going by. So I might just say, train, outside noises. And then sometimes when we try to sit and focus on one thing, body sensations might draw our attention. So if you feel like there's any sensations in your arms, legs, back, neck, just noticing those sensations. And again, not making a whole story about what those sensations mean, just noticing your body, your physical body, as if you were a curious, loving outside observer. Take a couple more big deep breaths and notice your physical body. And if anything's drawing your attention, could you be curious about those sensations? Could be warmth or coolness or a buzzing or tightness. Yeah. And then let that go and come right back to your breath. So there's probably sounds happening. There might be body sensations that you notice, but could they fade to the background as you focus on your breath? And then comparing this to when we started a few minutes ago, has your breath changed at all? Mine slowed down a little bit. Sometimes that happens. So this is a really simple thing to do that you can do anytime, anywhere. If you start to feel yourself getting anxious or stressed, just focusing on your breath, maybe even saying to yourself, inhaling, exhaling. You can make some noise as you exhale. You could sigh. And take another few deep breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And then I'm going to give us just a minute or two as a little break. If anybody has anything they want to say about that short meditation, was it easy? Was it difficult to focus on your breath? And if you don't want to say anything, I'll just blaze along into our now. I've got another couple of things we're going to try. Does anybody have feedback, thoughts as to how that went for them? Sometimes it's really hard to just focus on one thing at a time. You guys are doing great. So that's one of my favorite meditations, and you could cycle through that several times. You could focus on your breath, focus on sounds, focus on your body. That's a good thing to do if you have trouble sleeping at night. You can just do that in bed. So one of my other favorite meditations, and we did a version of this in our class this morning. At the end of all of my fitness classes, we've been doing at least 2 to 5 minutes of some type of this type of work. And this is my like happy place, happy person meditation. So this ties into what I was talking about earlier with all the disaster preparedness thing and anxiety and how to have all this stuff happening in the background and, you know, take control of it. Okay, so close your eyes again if you need to reconfigure your position, if you need to stand up or sit down or lay down. Get yourself nicely settled into a comfortable position. And then picture a person or an animal or even a place that makes you feel good, makes you really happy, and probably a person that you don't have a real complicated relationship with. Like my best girlfriend has a 4- and 2-year-old that are my little buddies. So when I do this meditation, I think of my little buddy Jonah because he's just the happiest, sweetest little nugget you've ever seen. So it could be a puppy or a person, you know, a baby, a child is a good one. It could be a room in your house. Do you have a spot that's your little area that's peaceful, oasis? It could be a place that you like to visit on vacation, Hawaii, the forest. So really picture that person or animal or that place, whatever your little happy zone is. And when you think of this person or place, how do you feel? Just notice your body. Does the smile come to your face? When you think of your doggy, or whatever your thing is. How does your heart feel? See if you can put some words to these feelings that you have when you think of this happy person, happy place, someone that brings you joy or comfort or peacefulness. So this is going to be our home base that we can keep coming back to. So get a nice solid picture of these feelings, emotions. What do you feel in your body? What do you feel in your heart? Take another big deep breath. That's nice, my little happy place. And then the meditation we did earlier, we did a body scan. If anything came up for you that was uncomfortable, and that might be physical discomfort or maybe some emotional discomfort. So if there was anything that was less than comfortable, for me this week, it was this article that made my stomach hurt. Most of your awareness in your happy place. And then with a sidelong glance, could you take a visit to this discomfort? So whatever this uncomfortable place is for you, and that's your physical body or an emotion. There might be a person in your life you're struggling with right now. But without getting too wrapped up into this discomfort, shine just a little bit of light into physical, emotional, mental, whatever the thing is that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. And if this gets to be too much, you can let that go and go right back to your happy place, your happy person. In fact, let's do that. Let go of any discomfort. It can be there in the background. And then come back to those feelings you had when you pictured your favorite person or animal or your favorite place. And really feel it in your body. Feel what happens to your body when you picture this person. Does your heart feel warm? Does your face soften? Do your hands relax? What body sensations do you have? Does your breath soften? And in this round, let's focus on a challenging emotion. Can you think of any emotions you felt this week? I had a challenging interaction with another person that stirred up some stuff. And what I notice is tightness in my belly when I have these kinds of interactions. So for just a moment, can you leave maybe 60% of your awareness in your happy place? And maybe 40%, could you explore a difficult emotion, something that happened with your heart recently or some feelings you had? And again, just noticing what happens with your breath and your body. So we can look at these from a safe distance. Sometimes what I'll picture is I was downtown at the art museum and there was a beautiful vase in a glass case. And I was walking in a circle around the vase. And then feel the feelings in your body, noticing a difficult emotion. Sometimes this could be expressed as sadness or as anger, anxiety, worry. And take another big deep breath. Let go of any of these difficult emotions and come right back to your happy place, your happy person. Take another big deep breath. So this happy place is always here for you. You've created it in your mind. It's like a big squishy down pillow or comforter. And you can always go back to this spot. So really snuggle up in your happy place or with your special person. Notice how you feel when you picture this person or thing. And then we'll do one last variation of this, keeping most of your awareness with this thing that brings you joy or peace, this person or place. Maybe it's a little animal. Now, could we take sort of a sideways glance at any thoughts that might be stirring around that feel challenging? Sometimes I describe this as having popcorn brain, where my thoughts pop from one thing to the next. This could be worry, fear. Just take a moment here and explore any thoughts that might be rattling around in your brain. And noticing how you feel. What are those body sensations? To-do list, maybe. It could be a thought that comes through on a loop that you hear over and over, something repetitive. Does your jaw tighten? Does your breathing change? Maybe the muscles in your face tighten. So you've still got your squishy blankie over in the corner. And we sit just another minute with any thoughts that are uncomfortable, stressful. Uncertainty is a big one for me. When I don't know the outcome of something, that causes me a lot of stress. Take another big deep breath. Big exhale. Whew. Okay, go back to your squishy blanket now, or your huggy thing, or maybe it's petting a dog that you know and like. Oh, okay, so in your mind, let go of any thoughts that feel stressful or hard, and come right back to your home base that you have created. You could be picturing the face of a loved one, a cute doggy. It could be a spot, a vacation spot that you like. And really feel what that feels like, to be in your happy place or with your happy people. Take another couple of breaths here, and then you can slowly let your eyes flutter open. I'll give us one more little rest break. So this can be a lot. This can be intense. If you need to like, whew, shake out your arms for a minute, yawn, open your mouth. And one more breathing exercise I'd like to do. I'm thinking we'll go for maybe another 12 or 15 minutes. If anybody's got a buzz out, buzz out. If you want to stay till the end and do a little wrap up with us about your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Anybody want to unmute themselves and comment right now? Here's your chance. So you guys are doing great. I'm so proud of you. This is hard stuff. To sit with difficulty. We like to run away when things get hard because it's hard to do. Okay, this last one will be really easy comparatively to our breathing exercise. Okay, so take a minute if you need to shake out your hands, yawn, roll your shoulders. Ooh, this is good stuff we're doing. So come back to your breath. And this one, you could close your eyes again if you're comfortable with your eyes closed. And just take a few normal breaths, not forcing them. Just noticing your breath coming and going. Yep, notice if your breath has changed at all since we started. And then let's try counting our breath. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, then I'll demo it, then you can do it with me. So we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. We're going to hold our breath for a count of 4. And then exhale for a count of 4. And then take a short pause. So it's going to look like this. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding your lungs full of air. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Slight pause. So this one you can do with me. Exhale all of your air out. Inhaling. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling. 2, 3, 4. Pause here. Inhaling. 2, 3, 4. Hold your lung full of air. 3, 4. Exhaling. 2, 3, 4. Pause just a moment. We'll go through a few more rounds just like that. You're doing great. Inhaling. 2, 3, 4. Holding at the top. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling. 2, 3, 4. Pausing. Exhale all your air out. Inhaling for 2, 3, 4. Holding your breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling. 2, 3, 4. Pause for a moment. One more round of this. Inhaling. 2, 3, 4. Holding at the top. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling. 2, 3, 4. And pause. And then come back to your regular, normal breath, whatever that may be. Just noticing your breath coming and going. You might even say to yourself, inhaling and exhaling. And then let's start to bring our attention back to our bodies in the room. So notice if your feet are resting on the floor, notice your feet and legs. If your legs are resting on a chair or the floor, just bring a little attention to your feet and legs. You might wiggle your toes a little bit or do that foot fist thing we were doing at the beginning. And then scan up through your pelvis. Notice your torso. We did a lot of paying attention to that rib expansion with our breath. Notice the muscles in your back. And we're just doing another little scan. If you were a loving observer, just noticing. And you can bring some attention to your arms and hands. Maybe you make fists again, squeeze your hands. Noticing your neck and face. You might even scrunch your shoulders, scrunch up your face, yawn. And then you may slowly open your eyes and bring your awareness back to the room. And if you've had your eyes closed, maybe take a moment and just look around. Open your eyes really wide. Maybe follow that seam where the wall and the ceiling meet. Maybe do a little circle with your head. Just look around a little bit. Bring your awareness back into the room. And then when you're ready, I'd love to have a little discussion about how this experience was for you today. If any of this is stuff that you feel like you could use in your daily stress management toolbox. Anything you loved or didn't love so much about this particular workshop?
I think personally, it's always a good reminder for me that I am in control of my body and my mind. And when I start to feel the things like you were talking about earlier, for me, it's increased heart rate and sort of some of the physical manifestations of some of the anxiety that's so prevalent right now. It's just very important to remember that there is a way to sort of diffuse that and to take that edge out. And so this was very helpful. Thank you.
Karen, I love it. I am in control. One thing I'll say to myself a lot is, I have these thoughts, but they don't have me. Which is hard to do, right? Like, we know this, but like when it gets into it, like if I had been reading this article and hadn't have caught myself, you know, Eric might have come upstairs and I'm on the couch crying, going, I don't know where the Rich is. And he's like, what is going on right now? You need to terrorize the boyfriend. Anybody else have thoughts or feedback? Anything that could be improved? I want to keep doing these. Terry.
So I really like the counted breath. There's something that takes me completely out of or brings me totally into the present. I'm just not aware of anything else, and I don't hold, but I quit breathing. That enhances it for me.
And such a basic thing. You could do that
Yeah.
anywhere. You could be boiling your pot of tea in the morning and just count your breath.
That helps me go to sleep sometimes.
Yay. Yeah, so a lot of my ladies are suffering from insomnia right now. I noticed when I turned 40, at 4 a.m., something about 4 a.m., I'll wake up and just be awake for an hour, about once a week. All right, who's this down here? Is this Mark and Judy? Y'all got anything to say? Any of my new ladies? I appreciate all of you being here. And I have, if you're not on my email list, I can add you. This is my email. You can see this, ann@fluidportland.com. And if you want to type your email in the chat box and be added to my list, I send about a weekly-ish newsletter with different stuff about our classes. Sometimes I post a recipe, this kind of stuff. Goings on in the land of fluid. And we're moving to a subscription service this month where you just pay for the month. It's automatically taken out of your credit card. You get videos, you get these kind of things, exercise videos. I just got a new batch of t-shirts and I've got some hats coming. I carried over a Bozu and a Swiss ball to a couple ladies this week. So if you need like band breaks or you need a new set of 5-pound weights, I'm happy to run those over if you're here in town. And I appreciate you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this, Anne.
Thank you, Heather, for bringing your posse.
Thank you, Anne. That was
Thanks
great.
for having us.
Yes, all right, I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.